Good morning, students. I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible. So, I know that you can't give any answer because I have disabled the live chat. I hope you can understand the reason because last class we have experienced some other people joining the session and disturbing us with with some or the other nonsense messages in the chat window. That's the reason I have disabled the live chat in order to avoid distraction for you as well as for me. So if you are facing any technical issues, you can personally post me because you all have my number because I'm there in all of your groups. So you can personally post me if any technical issues you are facing because I don't want either you or me to get distracted with unnecessary messages coming up in the chat window. That's the only reason I have disabled the live chat. And last class I have discussed about the lambda expressions and map, and I have shown you how we can even pass the lambda functions as function argument to the map that can be applied over the iterable components, and then how we get the map object that can be converted to list object in order to process the results. All that I have shown you, and after I have begun with the regular expressions, due to some technical issues the session got ended and we didn't even got that quiz answered. So in today's session, I'll just quickly cover that regular expressions in very fast, and then I want you to learn this MongoDB because it is the one which is being used in industries. That's the reason I thought, since some of them have asked when I was discussing about PDBC, two of them have asked me about MongoDB, and at that time I said it's totally different because it's not related to the Oracle database. It's a newer database which is something like a NoSQL database, we can tell, because as prominent as SQL databases, now the prominence is growing towards this particular NoSQL databases, and one such database which is grown much popular in the modern days is the MongoDB. So that's the reason I thought of giving you a knowledge about that particular MongoDB also. I have thought and brought up in this session. So the coming days also I'm going to introduce you to the things which are not covered as part of academics, because as part of academics we are bound to some syllabus and we are bound to some duration. That's the reason we are unable to come out of that and discuss much more there. So in these sessions I'm going to utilize in making you understand the different latest technologies that are required while learning a particular language. So in view of that, today I'm going to discuss this MongoDB. I'll show you how you can install it and how you can write a simple application that you can connect your Python to the MongoDB database, and you can create database, insert documents, and then retrieve them. All that I'm going to show in this session. And in tomorrow's session I'm going to discuss the tkinter module, which is there even in your syllabus, but I do remember that I haven't covered that much because of shorter time duration what we have. So tkinter module I'll show you tomorrow, showing you how we can create web applications and how we can add components using the tkinter module. So tkinter module is something like similar to your AWT components in Java. So the same way here also we have tkinter module in Python, which we can use it for adding the window components. All that I'm going to show you tomorrow, and then I'll introduce you to NumPy in the later session. So that's what I have planned for the coming days. Whatever the trainings I'm supposed to give until your academic sessions get started, I thought of making sure that I'm going to give you some new inputs which enhances your knowledge. So with all setting that context, let me begin today's session. So as mentioned, so today I'm going to discuss about MongoDB, and then after MongoDB discussion, I'll quickly give you the RE module also, because last session we have got disconnected while discussing that RE module, that is the regular expressions usage. So once I cover this MongoDB very quickly, I'll cover that RE, and then you are going to write your quiz only on this what do you say, lambdas, map, and regular expressions only, because that's the last session I have prepared for, and that's the quiz I made it. But unfortunately you people have not done that quiz, so that's the reason today you are going to write quiz only using those lambdas, map, and regular expressions only. MongoDB, it's only for knowledge purpose I am giving you, so I'm not including this in the quiz section. So now coming to MongoDB, what is MongoDB and how it have become popular, and why the current industries are using this MongoDB, what are its advantages, and despite of its advantages, are there any limitations? All that first, let's quickly discuss the theory, and then we will understand, and even I will show you how you can download that particular MongoDB and set the environment so that you can make your Python connect to the MongoDB that you have installed in your local machine and work with it. So all that I'll just give you a quick first intro, and then I'll give you a simple application that makes you understand that how my Python front-end application getting connected to the MongoDB, which I have already installed in my machine. So the first and foremost thing that you need to understand is, so MongoDB is a, I'll just use this file itself for theoretical discussion. So basically MongoDB is a cross-platform document-oriented database. So I hope, being CSC students, you already know what you meant by cross-platform. So cross-platform means that it can work over more than one platform, that it can be used over multiple platforms. That's what you just need to understand with regard to the cross-platform. And then document-oriented database. So this is the underlying point you need to remember. So basically MongoDB is something like which works with the documents. So here documents are nothing but something like records in your RDBMS. In RDBMS you will be saying it is record structured. Na? Here we will be saying it is document structured. That's what the point you just need to remember. So MongoDB is basically document structured, and which uses JSON like documents. So this is what you just need to remember. So the format which it uses is the JSON document structure. So that's what the major point you need to remember. So MongoDB stores the data in JSON like documents, which makes the database very flexible and scalable. So this is the underlying point you need to remember with regard to MongoDB. So let me zoom a bit. Okay, I hope it's visible more now. Yeah, so that's the major point you need to remember. So it stores data in JSON like documents, which makes the database very flexible and scalable. And this particular MongoDB is being implemented in C++ language, and also other things were used in several module places like JavaScript and Python are also used in its implementation. And coming to JSON, I don't know whether you have come across during other trainings which you have been attending. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So why these JSON document structures are being used is because they are lightweight formatted. They are very lightweight format for storing and transporting the data over the cloud. So nowadays JSON document structures are being used in most of the application developments. The only reason is because JSON is very lightweight format that is used for storing and transporting the data over the clouds. That's the reason it has grown that much popular. And the other reason is these are open source database and open source document format. Whereas you know that whatever the Oracle database we are using, it is not open source. It is owned by the Oracle Corporation. But whereas this MongoDB or JSON, these all are the open source uh, components. Like MongoDB is open source database, JSON is the open source file format, something like this. So as we know that they are not bound to any particular firm or license things, so you can use these open source that can be used over multiple platforms. That's the main reason these open source platforms have grown much popularity in today's world. So these are the points we just need to remember. And let me give you a quick understanding between the differences among this SQL whatever we are using and this MongoDB. So as mentioned, for Oracle or MySQL, so you require to have the knowledge of SQL. But whereas here these are human readable text kind format only, and here we call this MongoDB as NoSQL database. We call them as NoSQL database because we don't use any SQL language uh, for using this MongoDB. So that's the first and foremost point you need to understand. So, and what language here we use for querying is, we call it as MQL. I hope you can understand by that. So it is Mongo query language. They have implemented their own language and named it as Mongo query language. So which will be using for accessing the Mongo database. So we use MQL, that is Mongo query language, for accessing the Mongo database. And this particular Mongo database supports various other programming languages like C, C Sharp, .NET, C++, Java, Perl, PHP, Ruby, Scala, Python. So like this, it also supports various other programming languages also. But as part of this Python training, now I am going to show you how I can use Python in order to connect to this Mongo database. And for that, we require a module called PyMongo. We require a module called PyMongo. So in my last session, when I have discussed with regard to PDBC, I have just shown you how to connect with Oracle database using the cx underscore Oracle module. Likewise, now I am going to show you how to connect to Mongo database using the PyMongo module. So as we know that every module that we require, we need to install them. And how you are going to install them? With simple command pip install, sorry, and then the module name. So I'm showing you in Spider. Even if it is from command prompt, it's going to be the same command. So pip install pymongo. So this particular pymongo module is useful only for accessing to Mongo database from Python. This is the point you need to understand. So I have already installed it, so I'll be getting a message simply pymongo or already satisfied, requirement already satisfied. That's what the message you will be getting. So yeah, as mentioned, yeah, here you can see requirement already satisfied because I have already installed this particular pymongo module in my Spider IDE. So this is the basic theoretical information you require before getting started with MongoDB. And the other points which I wanted to make you understand is, here just like how you will be creating tables, here we will be creating collections. I just want you to give a comparison with regard to the SQL what you do, with regard to MongoDB what we are going to do. So I just want you to make you understand the comparison perspective, how you are going to refer the terms in SQL, how you are going to refer the terms in MongoDB. So in SQL, basically In SQL, basically what you will be using is, you will be using tables. Here we will be using collections. I just want you to understand this terminologies. Now, in tables, what you are going to store? You are going to store records. In tables, you are going to store records. Whereas here in collections, you are going to store documents. Here you are going to store documents. And each record you will be identifying with its attributes or columns, whatever you call it. You identify it with its attributes or columns, whatever it is. Here we are going to identify with the data objects. Each document is associated with data objects. So whatever the individual columns you have, here we will be calling them as data objects. So these are some terminological things which you need to remember. Sorry. So in SQL, you will be creating tables. In MongoDB, we are going to create collections. As part of tables, you are going to insert records. As part of collections in MongoDB, we are going to insert documents. As part of each and every record, you are going to insert attribute values. As part of MongoDB documents, you are going to insert data objects. So this is what the theoretical points I want you to understand. I hope everyone understood this theoretical perspective. Now let's get started with this understanding of how to download database and how to use it for your application development. Now, before that, I want you to show a very first MongoDB application, and then I'll show you how you can set up all these things in your machine as well. So for that, let me introduce you to the step-by-step programming that you need to perform for making your Python to connect to the Mongo database and then retrieve the records, or as mentioned, documents here. But we are used to this SQL style now, that's why terms might be coming like that. But as mentioned, just remember this theoretical description. SQL, we use the term tables. In MongoDB, we use the term collections. In SQL, we use the term records. Here in MongoDB, we use the term documents. In SQL, we use the term attributes. Here in MongoDB, we use the term data objects. So the hierarchy also you can understand. Tables contain records. Records contain attributes. Here, collections contain documents. Documents contain data objects. Like this. Something like this you can just remember. So you can create any number of databases, and again in each and every database you can create n number of collections. You can create n number of databases. Again, with respect to each database, you can create n number of collections. Again, with respect to each collection, you can create n number of documents. And the another advantage here, what you can remember is, here each and every document can be of its own data objects. I mean to say, like as you can understand that every record will be having same number of columns in your RDBMS now, but here in MongoDB it's not like that. Each and every document can have its own number of data objects. Like for the first document, I can have two data objects like roll number and name. If I am going to show you with the student database, anyway I'm going to demonstrate you with a student database creation now. So the point I want you to understand is, so in SQL, each and every record will be having same number of attributes, but whereas here each and every document can have varied data objects also. That's what the point I'm trying to tell. So if the first document I'm creating student roll number and student name, the second document I can create even student roll number, student name, student email ID. Another document can contain student roll number, student name, student email, student phone number, student address. I can have my own style of information being inserted. So that's the point I'm trying to convey you here. So because here you are not going to retrieve record by record, here you are going to retrieve document by document. You are storing as documents and you are retrieving as documents. So that's the reason every document can be of its own data objects. That's the reason I'm saying you every document can have its own set of data objects. That's the point I'm trying to convey you here. I hope you got to understand that difference. And as mentioned here, it uses the JSON like documents. Here it uses the JSON like documents because JSON, which is nothing but the JavaScript object notation, is very lightweight format for storing and transporting the data. And that's what the point you just need to understand. Now let me create a simple, the very first application. Like I said, I'll create a simple student database into my MongoDB, and I'll show you how it is getting done. So before that, let me show you. So this is my MongoDB Compass community. So this is the UI interface that I can interact with my MongoDB. Like you will be having SQL plus for the command interpreter. Na? Here MongoDB Compass community is the GUI which I can interact with my database. So here you can see, this is how the very first screen you will get to see when you open this MongoDB Compass community. And here you can see the very first time when you open this MongoDB Compass community, this is how you will be seeing the screen, and you can click on this connect, which will connect to the database. The only reason why I am opening this and showing you is I just want you to see the initial databases that it comes with. I just want you to see the initial databases it comes with. So here you can see the very first time when the database is opened after installing, you can see only the default three databases being shown there: admin, config, local. These are the only three databases. And here you can see, you can expand like this databases, and you can see if it has any collection. So here you can see admin is not having any collections. I have already said you the hierarchy. Database contains collections, collection contains documents. Always do remember this point. Database contains collections, collection contains documents. So here you can see admin not having any collections, config not having any collections. So local is having some collections, startup log. So this is how you can see, and this is the user interface you can see. Here you can see even the summary. So this local, which is nothing but the local host. Here whatever the thing you can see here, local is nothing but the local host, and it is telling you it is containing three databases with one collection. As mentioned here, admin, config, local are the three databases, and there's only one collection as part of local database, which is the startup log, something like that. And then here you can see the host name and the port number. So the host name is localhost, and the port number which it is installed is on 27017, because this information you require when you are going to create connection object, because this information you require when you create connection object. I hope you are able to understand this. So this is how the things you can find all the information. Now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to import my PyMongo module, which I have said you that is required for connecting Python to this MongoDB. I'll import that PyMongo module, and I'll show you by creating a student database and then creating multiple documents into that and retrieving the documents from the Python application. So that's what the agenda. And then I'll, as part of creating this application, I'll introduce you to the steps being involved for creating this application that connects Python to the MongoDB. And then I'll show you this user interface also. So I have just opened this MongoDB Compass community only for you to understand that we have a user interface also provided, with which you can find out the databases and the collections and the documents. You can find everything from this user interface. So once again, I'll get back to this particular MongoDB Compass community. Let me go back to the Spider and start creating the application. So as said, the very first and foremost step is importing PyMongo module. Here I have already shown you pip install PyMongo is the statement you need to give. Just like cx underscore oracle module, this module is also very lightweight module. Within seconds itself you can get it installed. Even though if you are installing for the first time also, it just gets installed in seconds itself. It doesn't take much time. It's a lightweight module. So after importing, then after installing, you need to import that PyMongo. So you need to import that PyMongo module. And so this is one way of importing. The other way, as you know, so from PyMongo, and then you will be writing the definition or the class which you require to import. So I am going to import the class Mongo client. I am going to import the class. Here you can see Mongo client, and here you can see the description also. So Mongo client is a class. As you can see here, Mongo client is a class which is used for client side client side connection establishment and querying, all that. So I'm just importing Mongo client class. So from PyMongo module, import Mongo client. This is what the very first step you need to remember. So import Mongo client from PyMongo module. This is step 1. Now coming to step 2, as you can expect, we need to create a Mongo client connection and then connect with the port number and host name, because that's what we are supposed to do. So once you have imported the Mongo client from PyMongo module, you need to create the Mongo client connection and then connect with the port number and host name. In the MongoDB Compass Connect, I have already shown you that host name and port number, that is localhost and then 27017. The same things I am going to use for establishing the connection. So I am just taking a name client. You can take any name, no problem. So client equal to Mongo client, and then I have to pass the arguments. So as said, I am going to pass MongoDB is the database name, and then MongoDB is the database name, and then I have to give the host name. So host name, as I have shown you there, localhost, and then colon 27017. So this is what the step 2. This is what the step 2 is. So what is step 2? Create Mongo client connection and connect with the port number and host name. So here you can see the arguments what we have passed: MongoDB, the database name, and then the host name, and then the port number on which this particular host is running. So even you can specify the IP address if your database is installed in some other server also. That is also possible. Now what is step 3? Now step 3 is creating a new database or accessing the existing database. The step 3 is going to be creating a new database or accessing the existing database. So the syntax is like this. So db1, something I am just giving, db1 equal to the Mongo client object which I have created. So client, and then here I am going to give the database name. So let's create a new database. So student. So here you can see what we are doing. So db1 is the database name what I have chosen, and then client object, I mean the client connection I have taken, and then passed the database name what I wanted to create. db1 is the object through which I am going to refer to this database student. db1 is the object through which I am going to refer to the database student. And as mentioned, if it is existing, you are just trying to access. If it is not existing, you are trying to create the database newly with the name student. And db1 is the reference through which you are going to access this database student. That is what the point you need to understand here. Now, as mentioned in the hierarchy earlier, so database will contain collections. Database is going to contain collections. So let me say C1 is my collection name. Now I'm just taking C1 as my collection name, and then to this I'm going to pass the database, and then I'm going to specify my what do you say, within the collection you are supposed to have the documents now. So let me give some reference here, like my table, something like this. Let me just use my table, and it should be in quotes. It's a string argument, the table name. Okay, so I've just created the collection reference C1 equal to DB1, which is referring to student database. Within that I'm going to create a collection, my table or my collection, whatever the name, it's up to you. But I said you now, so database contains collections, collections contain documents. The database contains collections and collections contain documents. So here the database which we are creating is student, and the collection name what I have given is my table. You can give any name, you can give any name, it's up to you. So I've just given my table as my collection name. And now let me show you how we create a document that can be stored into my collection. Now let me show you how I can create a document using JSON document style that can be stored into my collection. In my case, the collection name what I have given is my table, the database name what I have given is the student. Carefully observe, the database name what I am using is student, and the collection name what I have taken is the my table. Now let me create a document, and I'm just giving it as REC some name, that is a record. That's what I'm trying to make. So here role colon 1 comma name colon. So colon is the separator. So the point I hope you understood, it's a dictionary style. It's a dictionary style which I am trying to store into this collection. So it's a dictionary style which is nothing but the key value pair, which is nothing but the key value pair. So here I'm going to store some Krishna. Okay, so this is the very first document now I have created. Like this you can also create a list of documents also. Right now here you can see I have created one single document with the name REC. Like this I can also create a list of documents. Let me create something like L1 equal to, and let me copy this, and so this is how you will be storing listener. Within this you can have multiple, what you say, documents separated by comma. I hope you are able to see here. So let me change these values. So role here 2, and here 3, and here 4, and here 5, and then here after that let me change the names also for easy understanding. So lava, and then let me change the other names also very quickly, Kumar, and then here, okay, let me give CMR, and then let me give the other name CMRIT, something like that. So what I'm trying to show you is, I'm trying to show you we can even insert one at a time or insert multiple at a time. That's what I am trying to show. That's the reason I have created one document with the name record, and I have created 4 documents under a list which I am going to insert at a time. Now how you are going to add these things into this collection is, that's what the step 5. Now step 5 is insert one by one record or multiple records to the database. So step 5 is insert one by one record or multiple records to the database. So how you are going to do that is, so your database object, so db1 is my database object, and then dot your collection name. So my collection name in this case is my table dot. So I hope you can understand, it's the simple package hierarchy format only. So I already mentioned database contains collections, collection contains documents. So that's the reason here I'm using first database dot collection name dot, and then now I have to insert the record. So for that I'm writing insert underscore 1. So this is the function I'm using. So insert 1, and then within the brackets you have to pass that particular document. So in my case it is rec. Similarly, you can also, let me copy this. Yeah, you can also use insert many. You can also use insert many, and to this you can pass, if you are having separate documents, you can give all documents separated by comma, like rec1, rec2, rec3, rec4, something like that. If I have created separately, then also I can give insert underscore many. In the brackets I can give rec1 comma rec2 comma rec3 comma rec4, so on like that. Or else if you have a collection of documents, then you can pass that collection. In my case I am having 4 collections that are saved under the variable l1 list, so I am going to pass this l1. I hope you are able to understand this. So in my case I have 4 documents. This one I am referring to, this one. So I have 4 documents stored under a collection L1. I have 4 documents stored under a collection L1, and I want all these 4 documents to be inserted into the database at a time. So I am using this db1, which is my database object, my table, which is my collection object. Insert many is the method which I am going to use for inserting multiple records, and then I am passing the list L1, which is containing 4 documents. And if you want to insert one, you can use this insert one function, which you are going to pass one document at a time. So this is how you are going to perform the step 5, which is inserting one by one record or multiple records to the database. Now after doing this, the next step is, so the question is, can we pass? Okay, let me tell you. So this is how you can do, people. Like as I have disabled the live chat, if anybody is having any queries, you can personally post me. So the question is, can we pass rec and l1? Yes, to this insert many you can pass rec comma l1, because as mentioned, insert many is useful when you want to insert multiple documents. So rec is containing one document information, l1 is containing multiple documents information. This is also possible, but to insert one, you can't do that. I hope you can understand that this is also possible. So I just thought of showing you how to use both insert one and insert many. So if others also having any queries, you can personally post me. You can personally post me. Thanks for asking that question. So yeah, so this is how you will be inserting one document at a time, multiple documents at a time. You can give multiple documents separated by comma. If you have multiple collections also, you can give something like this, l1 comma l2 comma, so on like that. I hope you can understand that. Now what is step 6? Step 6 is processing the results. Processing the results. So how do you process the results is, in this pymongo we use the find function. We use the find function. So let me quickly show you how to process the results. So for that, let me use the cursor object. You can name anything. It's not the cursor what we have what I have shown you in cx oracle module. So In CX Oracle, I have shown you the cursor now. So here there is no cursor kind, but I'm just taking the same cursor since I'm going to iterate over multiple documents. So that's the reason I'm using that name. That's it. So here the collection name. So the collection name is C1. Here the collection name is C1, and then dot find. So find is the function which we use here, and then as usual for, so let me use the variable I, iterating variable, in cursor, and then print I. So the point you need to understand here is, here the main point you need to understand is, here this cursor is going to fetch all the documents. This cursor is going to fetch all the documents. Why? Because here I have written c1 dot find, where c1 is my collection object. C1 is my collection object, which is executing this find method and fetches all the documents. It retrieves all the documents. And now here I am using for loop, which you can easily understand. So over document by document, I am going on, and then I am printing document by document. So this is what I am doing, and then obviously the last step you can easily understand, that is closing of the client connection, whatever you have opened. So this is it. So we are done with creating application. We are just left out with running this. So before that, let me give you the summary of all the steps. So first step is importing the Mongo client from PyMongo module. Second step is creating Mongo client connection by connecting with port number and host name. Next, third step is creating a new database or accessing the existing database. Fourth step is, creating the collection or accessing the collection with the database object. Creating the collection or accessing the collection with the database object. Fifth step is insert one by one record or insert multiple records. That's what here we have done. Next, sixth step is processing the results using the find method. And last step is closing the client, that is the closing the Mongo client connection which you have created. I hope everyone understood all these 7 steps that I have used in this particular thing. Now let's run and see if it works. So simple shortcut F5. So Mongo client is object is not callable. What is that? Why? Line 6. Let me check quickly. Just give me a second. Is there any spelling mistake? So connection it is happening. That's the reason it did not give anything there. But when it is saying student, so it is saying type error. Student. Just give me a second. I'm checking. Is there any name mistake or what? Still the same error. So the question is, let me first read the query which I have received. In Python, we are using dictionary data structure to insert documents, whereas in C++ and Java, should we implement hash table, or are there any other alternatives? Yes, since I don't know names, I can have only phone numbers. I can't tell. But yes, you can use not only hash table, because when your intention is to insert something like key value pairs, definitely you will be going for this dictionary types only. But if your intention is not to go for only key value types, because basically we will be inserting records, something records or whatever it is, expecting to retrieve by some key value. So when you are expecting to retrieve something with the key value, obviously you require to go by something like a dictionary or its subtypes. I hope you got that answer. So we require dictionary or some subtypes of it in order to, what do you say, insert the things so that we can retrieve it with using some key attribute. Otherwise, what happens? You have to retrieve by indexing only, which is the regular style of usage. But when you are going for dictionary style only, you are going to get this key value types, which you can retrieve the values using the key attributes. So I hope you got that answer. Now let me quickly check what is the error here, because morning only I have already executed this application, but there's no error at that time. Since I wanted to show you from the scratch, I just deleted that database, and once again showing you from scratch, that is from step 1, the same application I have executed without any error. Client of student, still it is saying the same. Mongo client, spelling only, object not callable, or else am I making any syntactic mistakes? Let me just open it from the one which I already run morning. Just a second, so that I can compare here. So this is the one which I have run morning successfully and executed that. What's the mistake we are making here? Okay, sorry for that. Here we have to use this square brackets. It's not callable means that's the mistake I'm making. Sorry. Let me just close this unwanted. Let me clear the console fresh. Let me run now. So here you can see now. Yeah, it's working fine. So when it was saying not callable only, I should have understood. Anyway, happening mistakes is better, so that next time we won't repeat it. So here, this is how you will be doing, and now you can see from this output, you can interpret from the output what is it returning. So here I just want you to have a look at the output, what it is being returned. Here we have inserted 5 records, and then here you are getting the documents displayed. You are getting the documents, and this we did not insert it, but by default MongoDB uses this underscore id field, which stores this what do you say, binary JSON object, that we call it as in bson. Like JSON, JavaScript object notation, we have bson, which is binary JSON. So MongoDB automatically stores this underscore id field, which is nothing but it stores the binary JSON object, which is nothing but the hexadecimal string. So this is the uh, hexadecimal string which is used to identify each and every document uniquely in the collection. And this is how you will be using the primary keys in MongoDB. Basically, we don't have this keys and joins concepts in MongoDB. We don't have this joins and all these keys in the MongoDB. Like you don't have this foreign key, something like this. And this underscore id is the primary field. You can treat it the primary field which is used to distinguish each and every document in the database. So here you can see what is it giving. It is giving an hexadecimal string, and here this also you can see in sequence f7, f8, f9, and hexadecimal na, that's the reason next fa, next fb. And if I insert one more record, or else let me insert the same records because we did not restrict it na. So if I run this once again, now here you can see what is happening. The same records once again it got inserted, duplicate got inserted. So f7, f8, f9, fa, b, c is missing, okay, d, e, f, and then automatically you can see how it is going on. So this is how the what do you say, bson object, this is the binary JSON object that it will be using in order to identify each and every document uniquely in the collection. I hope you got this understood. So these are the 7 steps we use in order to connect Python with MongoDB. So first thing, import Mongo client from PyMongo module, and then create the Mongo client connection, and then create a new database or access the existing database, and then create a new collection or access the existing collection, and then insert one or multiple documents at a time, and then retrieve the documents using the find method, and lastly close the client, I hope all of you understood how to get connected. Now let me quickly show you before winding up the session about this compass. So here, let me zoom a bit. So here you can see, so still it is showing. Here you can see a refresh. If I just refresh, now here you can see what is it showing. So now it is showing the 4th database being added here. And if you expand this student, here you can see the collection my table, and if you click on this my table, automatically, so here you can see the data being retrieved, that is the documents being retrieved. Here you can see the documents being retrieved. And then here if you move to the right, let me zoom out little. So if you move here, here you can see for each and every document you can edit it, or you can delete it, or you can copy it. You can see all various operations that you can perform document by document also. When I move here, you can find that. When I move there, here you can find document by document. You can edit the document, you can clone the document, the same duplicate copy gets created. You can copy the document, you can delete the document, something like this. Document by document also you can perform. And this is what the JSON document style, and as mentioned, this we did not create. Automatically it creates for uniquely distinguishing document by document, because here this is a separate document and this is a separate document. In order to distinguish, it is creating like that. And now as mentioned, you can create documents here also by just clicking on add data. By just clicking here add data, you can just do that. And the other advantages what you have is, suppose if I want to as mentioned, if I want to upload this to some cloud, then I might be requiring to extract this data, or you can say export. Here you can see export collection. Just observe the mouse pointers also. So here you can find this export collection. If I click this export collection, here you can see export query with filters, something like this, or you can even choose this export collection. And here once you select that export full collection, you can see this button select fields, and you can just click this, and then here you can select which of the fields only you wanted to select, which of the fields you wanted to select. This fields is nothing but the data objects. I already mentioned you the terminologies. So database containing collections, collections containing documents, document containing data object. This is what the hierarchy you need to remember. And now here I can select whichever attributes I wanted. Something I am selecting only name and roll number now. And if I click on select output, now here you can see, do you want to export this, what do you say, all documents as JSON or CSV? It is giving me only option. Do you want to export as JSON or CSV? Let us choose CSV. CSV means comma separated values, which can be exported and open in Excel, and we use CSVs when we deal with Python pandas. If time permits, I'll even give one session on pandas also, how to manage data with the reading of files, all that I wanted to show you. If time permits, definitely I'll show. So here you can see, you can select the type of file you wanted to export, JSON or CSV. Let me first show you with CSV. Click on browse, and then you can select where you wanted to save it, and let me choose desktop, and then here you can give, so let me give student, and then you can select. Here you can see automatically it's coming, so you can see the path. So on desktop it is being saved as student.csv, and you can click on export. Here you can see export completed. Or else if I want, I can even choose JSON, and then I'll just show you both ways, and then click on browse, and then here you can see the type being shown as JSON file. Now let me save it as some stud, and select. So here you can see again on desktop it's going to be saved as stud.json, and then click on export. Export completed. Now let's close this window and get back to desktop and see how it got created. And let me, yeah, here is my desktop, and here you can see now the CSV file and the JSON file. So JSON file you can open it in Notepad itself. So let's click on edit. So here you can see how it got opened. So this is how the documents, all documents, now it got opened, and this file is easily transported. Now this JSON file can be easily transported. So that's the advantage what I mentioned. Similarly, you can even open the CSV file, which is nothing but the comma separated values as mentioned, and here you can see how it is coming. So this you don't bother, because here roll number one, it by default, since I said you this is storing in binary JSON. Since it is storing as binary JSON, whatever the one value I have given roll number, that is converted as true. That's the only reason. I hope you can understand this, because I said it stores in binary JSON, so that's the reason it's converted one as true. That's the only thing. So the point I wanted to make you here is, this is how you are going to store MongoDB using MongoDB, and then you are going to export the collection using a CSV or what do you say, JSON. And as mentioned, you can add data very quickly. Here you can see the options. You can import it from file, or you can insert a new document. If you are inserting new document, automatically the underscore ID field comes, and remaining values you can give as shown in that structure. Or else if you have a JSON file or CSV file, you can even import from there. This UI will be very useful. This UI will be very useful. And as mentioned, you can edit a document and make changes, you can delete a document and make changes. And if I want to drop the collection, that also I can do here. Here you can see, if I click on this three dots beside my collection name, you can see drop collection. So if I click on drop collection here, that also it is telling what am I supposed to type. To drop this particular collection name my table, type the collection name my table. So let me type this my table, and then if I click on drop collection, automatically it gets dropped. There you can see now. And now if you observe, the database is also deleted. Actually I haven't deleted database, but only collection I have dropped, but still the database got deleted. The point I want to make you understand here is, without a single collection, database doesn't exist in MongoDB. Without a single collection, database doesn't exist in MongoDB. So that's the point I want to understand. I want you to understand. So without even a single collection, database doesn't exist. Since I have deleted the collection, the only collection that is available in the student database, it also got deleted. I hope you can understand this. So this is what I wanted to convey with regard to MongoDB. I hope you got to understand this MongoDB. So that's it from my end. Since we are running out of time, I don't want to again get started with this regular expressions discussion. I thought of discussing these regular expressions and then starting this quiz. Since I haven't discussed regular expressions, I don't want to start this quiz today. So tomorrow, if time permits, again I will discuss the regular expressions first, and then I will discuss the tkinter module. Using tkinter, I am going to show you how we can add components to a window. All that I'll be showing. So tomorrow what I'll do is, first I'll just start these regular expressions, and then I'll discuss the tkinter module. So that's it from my end. If any queries, as mentioned, so three of them have already posted me personally. If anybody are going to have any queries in coming sessions also, since I am disabling the live chat, kindly make use of asking queries personally. So that's it from my end. So for today I am ending the session, hoping that you all understood how to connect Python to the MongoDB and how to create database, add collections, insert documents, retrieve documents, and do all querying with MongoDB. Hope you practice it and enhance your knowledge. Thank you for participating the class. So I am ending my session for today, and let's discuss the regular expressions in tomorrow's session and also participate the quiz tomorrow only. Thank you and bye.